Greetings, good people of the internet. I am Eric Grooms, the Film Score Fanatic, here with a review of Chapter 7 of The Mandalorian, titled The Reckoning. So let's just get started on it. Briefly going back to my review of the last episode, Chapter 6, I kind of did some speculation about what we would see from this upcoming episode. And it looks like I was a little right, so, I'll give myself a little credit, a little pat on the back for that. In the sense that it seemed like Karga was going to be inviting the Mandalorian, extending an olive branch, but it was really just a setup, based on things that happened in the episode that kind of morphed into something else, but it started off that way, so I called it. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I'm going to take credit for on my little corner of the internet calling it. So, as always, we're going to talk about the episode, so there's going to be spoilers. Some will be mild spoilers. I'll try to save my most spoilerific speculation type stuff towards the end of this review. But if you haven't seen the episode, it's probably not a good idea to watch me reviewing it if you don't want to be spoiled. If you're fine with being spoiled and you just want to know if it was a good episode or not, continue watching, please. But otherwise, you might want to stop and come back later. So yeah, let's just get started. Gina Carano comes back to the episode. This ended up kind of being the let's bring all the pieces back together episode, I suppose. We've gotten one puzzle piece an episode for a while, and we kind of finally brought everything back together to be one unit, which is precisely what I said last week, that I was so happy about the episode, Chapter 6, including a team and that team dynamic, and that's so much more interesting. And we had so many episodes of the Mandalorian going to a place and meeting one person and spending 30 minutes with them and then moving on. And so we're trending in the right direction, it seems, to have more of teamwork, which I find more fascinating, more entertaining. So that's good. But anyway, we get back Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, and on an acting note, Gina is, I think, doing well. But she's still limited in her abilities. There's one moment in particular in this episode where she's not really wanting to join the fray, but then the Mandalorian says a certain thing that piques her interest, and the camera stays on her and shows her kind of reaction to that notion. Or lack of reaction, really, which to me showed limited abilities and displaying emotion. This could be down to the direction that she received, but I kind of really doubt that. And I'm not ragging on her. I think she is fine. She's doing a fine job. She can show improvement, though, or there's room for improvement, I should say. But aside from that, I think she's doing a fine job, and we get some of the other characters back into the show that we had lost in previous episodes or had moved on from. I think I called it way back when, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I knew IG-11 would be returning in some form at some point. Whether it was reprogrammed to do something else, or the character wasn't really dead and he just needed to put himself back together, and maybe he'd want revenge or something like that. But what we end up seeing is that he was damaged badly, and we have this little kind of joining of two characters that we had seen previously but hadn't seen them interacting with each other. And we get this rehab montage. Not a common montage that you see in film and TV, but still a good montage nonetheless. It was actually kind of a nice, sweet little depiction of the struggles of recovering from a massive injury can be, but with the skin of a Star Wars robot on it, so that was interesting. Again, the special effects team, I don't know how much of this character is puppetry and how much of it is CGI, but they've really made the IG characters a very interesting, I can't think of another word, but like a really cool imagining of what a robot like shaped like this, how it would move it. It's got it's free moving and everything like that, but it's very jilty movements because it's a mechanical creation. So I'm really liking the characterization of the IG units. So there you go. Taika Waititi's back, voicing IG-11, and like I said, he's directing the next episode, the last episode of this season, and he can't. Come on, he can't direct something and not also be acting in it in some way. So obviously he'll be in this next episode in some capacity. I'm guessing he'll be retaught how to kill or something. I don't know. We've seen like the posters of Cara Dune and IG-11 flanking the Mandalorian, so I'm guessing that's going to be happening in the next episode. But IG-11 is now no longer an assassin droid, at least for the time being, because Quill the Ugnaught, voiced by Nick Nolte, found him and reprogrammed him and rehabilitated him, and instead of serving lethal laser blasts, he now only serves very much less lethal cups of tea. So, which the Mandalorian will not accept because he doesn't trust him, or any other droid for that matter. I think in the next episode we'll probably also see a much more detailed flashback. We've seen a couple glimpses of where his distrust of droids probably comes from in the Clone Wars, but I think maybe we'll visit the Mandalorian blacksmith again, and we'll have another flashback with more detail to kind of flesh out where his Mandalorian story started. But the montage of the recovery I thought was a really well executed piece of filmmaking. Again, this episode is directed by Deborah Chow, and she impresses yet again. If you don't remember, she did episode 3, which was up to that point the most exciting episode to ever come out, which was the episode where Mandalorian has a change of heart and breaks out Baby Yoda from the compound, and all that action ensues, and then there's a OK Corral standoff, and full-on Mandalorian cavalry triumph, which was a really fun episode. she does it again. I think she's proven that she's got some great directing sensibilities in this episode as well, because there was like kind of a good mixture of character direction and also action direction, and there was even a horror element in the episode that was very well done, in my opinion, which led to some revelations, which I'll talk about in the much more spoilery later bit of this review. Once we get, I wanted to say the music in the recovery scene for IG-11, kind of getting back his abilities, was really nice. These last couple episodes, the score has been impressing me a little bit more. I think it's been a little more cohesive, a little less jolty from genre to genre kind of thing. It feels like they're finding a better identity overall. And then we have a little moment when the team is all together and they're on their way to do the deed. And we have to ask ourselves a question: is Baby Yoda bad? Is he going to be evil? And the answer is no. He's a toddler, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying. All he knows is he's trying to help his Mando daddy, and he makes the wrong decision. He needs guidance. He needs a teacher. I wonder if there's a Jedi Knight out in the galaxy somewhere, perhaps creating a school for Jedi training. Maybe they could find him and he can set this little Baby Yoda on the right path. I think we're probably never going to see Luke Skywalker in this series, but that would be kind of fun for a little tie-in there. But that's a whole side story there. And in this scene where we kind of have all of the new team together in the Razor Crest cargo hold, or whatever that area of the Razor Crest would be called, we see more of Quill in a dialogue moment, and I really like his backstory, that he had to work for the Empire, and some people are looking down on him for that, but he had no choice. I think that's a really lovely character point. That he takes pride in the fact that he worked his way to get away from that. He didn't want to be a part of it any more than anyone else would, but he had no choice. But the reason I bring up this moment in the episode is the practical effects. I appreciate that they're using so many practical effects in this series, and there's always a balance between understanding that it's practical and therefore limited in some ways, and just accepting that. And the same goes for CGI. CGI can be used well, but it has its limits and can't be abused. And I personally think there should be a better mixture of that. The reason I bring it up is because every time the character Quill is speaking, is having a monologue of some sort, it completely takes me out of the episode. I'm sure many other people are able to just get over that, but for me, it's so hard to look past. The reason that CGI oftentimes fails is because of facial movements, especially when speaking, especially the mouth, because there's a lot of detail that happens in the muscles in your mouth and in the cheeks and everything attached when you speak. And that's very difficult to mimic in CGI recreations, it's also incredibly difficult to mimic on a mechanical puppet where the mouth basically just goes open and close, open and close. Like, it takes me out of it every time. Could just be me, and it's not a huge gripe. I understand the limitations of creating a creature that doesn't actually exist, and you know, they had to make a choice between CGI or this animatronic type mask that the actor in the character is actually you know, covering their face with. But man, it takes me out every single time he has to talk. I have to focus on something else. I have to look at his eyes or some background of the screen. I cannot look at his mouth. But anyway, I digress. I move on. I've made my point, I believe. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Does it bother you? Does it take you out of the show at all? But yeah, when we finally get to the planet for the final action, what is that planet called? Navarro. We get back with you know, Grief Karga, and as I said, called it. He was extending an olive branch, but really had other plans. Some hijinks ensue, and he needs a save from little baby Yoda. And we see some Force abilities that you know, became a thing in Legends, what is now considered Legends. It's not considered part of the actual canon of Star Wars, the Star Wars saga. They've brought it back, and I just, you know, this is where we're going to start kind of talking about a lot more spoilery stuff, so you've been warned. Little baby Yoda, as he kind of inferred in the second episode, when he kept trying to reach out to help his Mando daddy, he has the ability to use the Force to heal, which is a pretty cool ability, and that immediately changes the plans for Grief Karga, who realizes this is something special and worth fighting for, I guess. I suppose if you're about to die and something keeps you from dying, that's a pretty believable quick turnaround on your opinion. So we get to the town. It's crawling with stormtroopers and old Imperials. Man, they're really running rampant in this kind of outskirts of the galaxy. Like, there's not even like, you know, keeping it hush hush. There's just like a legion of stormtroopers. So it gets a little confusing about like what exactly is the makeup of these of this kind of geopolitical landscape, when there's just stormtroopers running around everywhere, apparently. We finally get back to Werner Herzog, who is always fantastic, has some really awesome, just fascinating guy in this character, the client. Really interesting, has some great lines.
Can I offer you a libation to celebrate the closing of our shared narrative?
And then he's gone. But we lose one great, cool, nefarious character, and we finally gain the one we've been waiting for so long. Hallelujah. praise the Force, Moff Gideon has finally arrived, and he's got a sweet ass TIE fighter that seems to be specially modified for him. I don't. Do all TIE fighters do that? I don't think they do, because we've seen them land many times without folding their wings. But it makes more sense, to be honest. Like, you should be able to get out of your cockpit somehow without having to jump 10 feet down to the ground or something like that. But yeah, we finally have Moff Gideon, and things go bad for the team, and that's a cliffhanger. But I'm fine with a cliffhanger in episode 7, so that we can go into episode 8 and get some more detail, more action, and maybe get some kind of conclusion to this season's arc. Unfortunately, I think it means that we're gonna have another cliffhanger in the next episode. I don't know how you can satisfactorily conclude everything that's happened in one more 40-minute episode. But yeah, he says, so Gideon arrives and he does some monologuing outside, and he says something along the lines of the asset meaning more to him than you'll ever know. He says it means more to me than you'll ever know, which I feel is like a loaded statement. Why does it mean so much to you, more than anyone else will ever know? I'm guessing that's kind of a threatening thing, saying like, you're gonna die and you're never gonna know why this is so important to me, but it is very important to me. But it makes me wonder, what is the reason for it being so important? Is it because Moff Gideon knows that this thing has abilities, and he's trying to harness those abilities to help his boss, who's very badly injured and nearly died, the Emperor from 5 years ago? Or is he helping a very badly maimed and kind of tortured new rising leader in the First Order? One very not attractive man named Snoke? Or is he helping Snoke, which is thereby also helping his former boss, the Emperor?
Who hired you? Tell us. Tell us now!
Who knows what's going on right now at this point in the history of the galaxy. But it's very exciting to get some more details. We got, you can look at it this way. The first 3 episodes were like the big rookie season that really got everyone excited. Then we got a bit of a sophomore slump in the middle there. We went into a valley, and it got real boring for a little bit. But now we're swinging back up into more exciting territory. So, when we look at the season as a whole, in the end, I think we are going to see a bit of a trajectory where it starts off pretty high, kind of sinks down, and then goes back up, which is by design. I'm sure that's how a lot of story structures kind of go. And Jon Favreau is not infallible. I don't know that he's ever run a show or written a show, so he's going to learn some lessons and hopefully improve. But this was a big step back in the right direction, as I said, and I'm excited for the next chapter, which we got to wait a little bit longer. We got kind of a long week in between since they decided to release this on Wednesday to get ahead of the Rise of Skywalker heading to the theater. So. Yeah, I think that's all the thoughts I have on this episode. Did you watch it? What did you think? Do you agree with my thoughts? How do you think this next episode is going to shake out? Yeah, just let me know in the comments down below. As always, liking and subscribing is always helpful as I try to grow in this YouTube arena, and anything that gives me confidence to keep working on it is always welcome. As always, I've been Eric Grooms, the Film Score Fanatic, and may the Force be with you. I have spoken, and this is the way, all the things. So yeah, I will see you next week with the review of the last chapter in season 1 of The Mandalorian. See ya.